All right. See if this works. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. I'll just pick up on where I left last time. So we did some basic booleans for the buttons, and I guess we could start by doing those buttons because just looking at these holes, I don't know, I hate it. They look terrible. So I mean, doesn't really matter what buttons we start with. Actually, I'm gonna grab the actual Wii remote again. All right. So I just wanna get a feel for the buttons because the A button looks like it's super round, but it's actually not. Not at all. In fact, it's kind of a... It's not a perfect cylinder, it's kind of weirdly shaped. I don't know if it's because of the cheap production, but let's just do it. So we're gonna make a... Actually, we want to use the boolean, we want to have the... we want to have the same rotation segments, just so, you know, the button nicely fits in there. So let's duplicate that and put it out of the boolean collection, and then we set this back to textured. All right. So the button kind of goes outwards for like, I don't know, 1-2 millimeters or something. So let's set this to 2 milli. No, that's too much. Probably more like 1, yeah, for sure. And then it, I assume, goes down a bit further into the hole. Now we just sort of scale it on the Z-axis a bit. You can do this by pressing scale and then shift Z. And basically what it does is just scale along every axis besides the one you basically select. So if I press scale and shift Z, I'm only scaling on X and Y, not Z. Which is useful, you know, you can just scale it on those axes, just make it thicker. Alright, so button number 1 kind of done. I'm wondering, maybe it's actually further out more. Like this, it's actually goes out quite far. Then we have the D-pad, which is super simple. Most controllers have like not entirely smooth D-pads for the grip, but this D-pad is pretty smooth. Doesn't have any ridges. So before we duplicate, let's turn off the booleans because it keeps lagging when I like duplicate the boolean. So it's like this and put it out of the collection. And let's turn on the boolean for the buttons, and we should probably start naming these here. This one for again. Ah, this is for the sensor. Okay. Great. Now let's set this back to textured. And yeah, the D-pad, again, as I said, is super simple. I've modeled like a GameCube controller before, and the D-pad seems to be quite different from this one. Okay, so I'm doing like a normal scale just to get like the gap. And you always want to make sure to keep offset even checked. If you're not checking that, you aren't going to get like straight planes. Like it might scale the edges a bit more inwards than the outers, and you will get like tilted faces, which we do not want. And yeah, so the D-pad goes out by like, yeah, definitely further out than the A button for sure. Oh, we actually have, oh, that's great. We actually have some reference here. I guessed that correctly then here. It's a bit more here because it looks quite thick. It looks thinner in real life, but I'm not sure how accurate the reference is, to be honest. But let's just roll with it. Sometimes things look a bit thicker, and once you add like a bevel, it starts to look more correct. So the bevel is definitely larger than that. Something like this, yeah. Yeah. It's always the same. Yeah, the bevel just, helps break that illusion that it's, thicker than it's supposed to be. Alright, so now these are definitely higher up. And it's like a linear fall off, so we don't need any more polygons here. So by linear fall off I mean it's like just a ramp. It's actually super basic. Now we set it to shade smooth. Yeah, that's about it. I'm wondering the bevel is probably a bit bigger actually than that. Maybe 0.43, yeah, something like that. That looks good. Let's also add a bevel to this object. Always apply the scale. Like you only have to apply scale if you actually scale the object in object mode, not in edit mode, but you tend to forget if you actually did it, so just do it, just make a habit of applying the scale. Now for some reason this button is slightly like tapered. Yeah, I think that looks good. Maybe like so. Alright, then we have these buttons here. So we could go ahead and apply the boolean. I think I'm just going to duplicate this, put it into our save collection. And now we're just gonna, yeah, let's just apply the mirror first and then this bevel is for that. Okay. I'm wondering if we need to. Yeah, we definitely obviously have to, yeah. So let's apply the bevel, the buttons. Looks good. So usually I wouldn't recommend applying modifiers so early on. You always have like a backup, yeah, but it's still, a lot of work to go back and redo stuff. It's just, I guess it depends on the experience you have and if you have the skill to properly clean up the mess you are like making in the beginning. And I'm confident in my cleaning up abilities, so we're good. So we can disable the buttons collection now. Just wondering about the topology right now. We could go and disable all these lines. These were just for like the Boolean part, so that when we did the actual Boolean operation, it wouldn't get confused and start like create some overlapping faces. We could probably, yeah, triangulate this now and we'd be fine. Though the shading is weird for sure. I don't know what I think I've said this in the other stream as well. I don't know what they did with the whole autos moving and stuff in these new versions. It's different and I don't like it at all. Wait, so why did this? Oh, that's why. So isn't this perfectly flat? I'm wondering. Just selected. Yeah, like this. Like usually when you had these issues, you would just do the auto smoothing and it would create some sharp edges at the 90-degree points, and you'd have no problem. But now, for whatever reason, they removed the auto smoothing from this section here. But it's also, I think, in 4.1, it's also not a modifier. I think it's in one version it was a modifier, but in this it isn't. It's very confusing. Not gonna lie. And I'm not sure why this modifier doesn't work, to be honest, because I assume if I go here and, start adding like some sharp edges, it's definitely gonna fix it. So I'm not gonna triangulate it now because I don't need to. It's not benefiting me at all. But I don't know why I think there's also the normal edit, right? No, not this one. Normal. Yeah, edit normal. It's just very, the whole behavior is so weird. I've read somewhere that in one version it's kind of bugged in a way. It's not how it's supposed to work, but yeah, I'm not sure. But we know how to fix it. We just need to manually do the sharpening because for some reason the auto smoothing isn't here in this version. There's also still some clear cut. That's why it probably didn't work. Yeah, okay, there was some. It's very weird. Like the auto smoothing is gone. It creates some weird shading and that overrides everything else we do. So I'm not sure if the boolean always did that, like adding custom split normals. So yeah, I don't know about that, but I guess we fixed it. It's just changed, and I think it absolutely changed for the worse. It was literally perfect. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so we want to have a bevel here. So actually, I did this actually wrong. I did it a boolean. We need to scale this inwards. And then just do some bevel. And these ones we can just, merge. We're just gonna ignore this whole Angon for now. I mean, we can ignore it till the end. It doesn't matter. It won't affect the UVing. It won't affect anything we do. It's just a flat. It's just a flat surface. All right, and then we I just like to grab stuff. So I just grab the face, I duplicate it, and then I separate it, and that's it. I actually need the refs. All right, so button needs to be smaller, and I'm gonna look at the real Wii remote again. So the button actually goes out like this. And this one is very, very rounded, so something like this. Yeah, that looks good. We'll also have to do the texturing, which will, I don't know, it's not the best part. It's just like texts and graphics. Super annoying to do, in my opinion. Okay. And this one is a bevel too. So normally, if I would make a model that's, you know, it needs to be just to have stated that if it needed to be made for like a production, I would obviously go back and make sure that the bevels are exactly the same and I do them at the same time. But this is just, you know, um, for fun, so we really don't care. Uh, thanks for the thanks for the live chat. Okay, we have some doubles. Thanks for the E. Still getting. Oh, it didn't. Okay, no. Uh, now we just bevel this again. Actually, need to push this down a bit. And I'm gonna take a look at the real model again because the reference seems to be a bit, I don't know, different. Photos seem to be a bit off because the bevel on my Wii remote aren't that strong. They're like more like kind of this. Yeah, I don't know. Just gonna merge these here. Now we can actually grab this button. We just, you know, roughly put it in the center here. Nobody cares. And this button is also sort of leveled with this here. The cavity. Sometimes I like change the mat cap and enable cavity and shadow, but it's kind of distracting, and I feel like if you work too much with these effects, you sort of are kind of blinded by what the actual model is because the cavity adds like the kind of details. It looks better, but then when you turn it off, it looks a lot worse. And I like to look at the model as raw as possible, so I, you know, get a sense of how much detail I want. Yeah, actually, let's do these buttons next, which seem to not have worked for the Boolean, which sucks. Yeah, always make sure to log out for that. That's so annoying. Yeah, it's fine. We'll just go back and just go back and do another bool. Thinking I'll probably do this before all the others. Yeah, great. Yeah, looks good. Duplicate this again. And I'm gonna look at the real buttons again. Okay, so these scale them a bit down. These are definitely a bit more outside of the like hole. And they also have like this slightly bulge outwards. think something like this, yeah, should be fine. Can always change that. So looks good. And these buttons are pretty much the same, just a bit bigger. The barrel is a bit smaller though. Yeah, and that's kind of the basic buttons now. We could also go ahead and apply the speakers. We also still have to do the lights, but I'll also do that separately. I'll just do like a simple boolean here for these squares. And for these like small dots, like when you look super up close, like a macro shot, obviously they are like merged with the casing. But if it like, you can get away by just, using cylinders for these dots, putting them inside the mesh, and then on the plastic material, just use a bevel normal node that goes into your normal input. And then it sort of fakes a bevel where two meshes meet. So if I were to like put this like so here and join this mesh with this one and use the shader with the bevel normal node, you would have like a fake bevel sort of, which is pretty nice. And honestly, I can really recommend it because these are the details that really, make the final render and the final product look insanely good compared to just really nice. Because you still get these super small speculas and you might not really notice them, but you kind of do. Like you see the image and then you end up with super, super tiny bevel speculas, and it's super necessary if you want like a really 100% photoreal, 99% photoreal render. So definitely make sure you have those details, because sharp edges in 3D, the kind of a big giveaway is when two objects meet and they just have like a super sharp transition. It's a total giveaway because that never really happens in real life. You always have some sort of occlusion, you have some contact shadows or whatever, so some speculas and stuff. So always make sure. For these, we can just do a modeling bevel. We don't need to use the fake bevel here. So I'm going to, I'm gonna apply it and just hope it works. Yes, looks good. And I'm thinking I could use a bevel modifier on this mesh. We're just gonna try it and see if it works. Light a scale, make sure that, all the other booleans still work. And let's hide the other stuff. So always turn off clamp, it's super annoying. And then we just try, and we could probably make use of the bevel weight tool here again. And we also see some issues here because these are doubles, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so this is just a typical cleanup work you have to do, or you have to expect when working with booleans. Yeah, I think, I don't know why it created so many doubles here. And I'm not sure if by distance works here, actually. Yeah, actually, maybe. So I'm just gonna, I think that looks good. And now we get some bevels on all these edges, which is super important because Yeah, because nothing is super sharp. Hide the other stuff again. Yeah. And funnily enough, these holes here have a super sharp bevel. So I think I'm gonna actually use the weighting here, which is a lot more work, but I mean, we do want a good result, so. So we're just gonna give this a super small bevel, right? Like this. Yeah, this looks good. Probably not make these too large. And you can always go and group these, because then we sort of select them, and I mean, you can just go and do a deselect ring selection. But I mean, I rarely do this because as you see, the vertex selection isn't really like an edge selection would be great. I'm not sure if Blender has a built-in feature like that. I forgot this. So, but yeah, like edge selection or storing or something like in Houdini would be really nice to have. So these holes are pretty sharp. They don't have a big bevel. The stream will be short today, by the way. Yeah, we probably want these stuff bevel as well. Yeah. Perfect. I really wish the bevel weighting would have like layers, like a layer sort of view where you can have multiple bevels. You know what I mean? Like I have kind of multiple bevels and use the weighting on both, but they just affect stuff differently. But you can't really have two bevels, unfortunately, with weights enabled, because they both just access the same weight data. Right. Buttons look good. Yeah, we need to round this here as well. Tricky. I think we're just gonna do a ring selection here, and then we just increase the bevel here. Okay, this is tricky now. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do this one manually then. Something like this. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, buttons are done. Booleans and the holes and bevels are done as well. I think I'm just gonna quickly add these here, these little ones. And yeah, I'm not gonna care about like keeping the divisions here optimized. It's not, I'd rather have too many than too less, because that's always annoying afterwards, like adding more polygons. So these little dots, we'll just give them like a subdivision surface. Or maybe actually not. Wait, let's do like so, and then yeah, like this. Might be even two. So I'm wondering, how do these dots help blind people exactly? No, not to be like funny or offensive, but like if your player one, this one is like blue, right? So it lights up. So how does the dot? How do you? How does a blind guy? I'm confused. I'm not sure how that's how that works. Unless the dots sort of vibrate or something, but I highly doubt that. Why are the? It's confusing actually. Why are there dots? Well, guess we'll never know. So I'm just eyeballing the positions here. Yeah, I could measure them, you know, on the real remote, but I'm not gonna do that. All right, and now here's the trick. So we have these, and we oops, sort of put them inside the remote, and then we merge them with this mesh, and then we can use the bevel node, and then we'll have like a fake bevel, which will be really nice. I'm thinking if I can do this already. I think I'm gonna hold on off on that for now because I don't want to merge these meshes yet. But yeah, the top part is looking decent in my opinion. Right. So what we can do next is this flap here. So I'm just wondering how. Yeah, I'm just gonna go into my save collection. I'm gonna grab like an old model that should be still here, hopefully. I'm pretty sure I saved an older version, but might be wrong. Yeah, I think I have this yeah, okay, great. Jesus. That's scary when you don't have stuff backed up. That's you don't wanna play with that. Um so we can turn off the save. Yeah. We delete all the booleans of this. No wait, that was wrong. We want to keep the bevel, obviously. Yeah, like this. Ah, yeah. I'm a big brain. Okay, never mind that then. We'll have to use the boolean object for the flap. It's no problem. We'll just duplicate this. Turn off the solidify. Apply the mirror. Nice work, keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, dude. Thanks, that's very appreciated. That's very nice to hear. I'm doing my best to recreate this retro Wii remote. I don't know why why it shows this specifically, but I feel like it's like a nice mesh to model. It's not that difficult. It's very nice to do casually. All right, this is getting annoying. So I like doing this though. It's like problem solving, right? So you mess up in the beginning because you don't have a proper backup, or you're too lazy to get the proper backup. So you have to use with the mesh that you have. You have to work with the mesh that you have. So I think I can sort of inner extrude this and be real messy. Which is not ideal for a tutorial, but I mean, whatever. And now I'm just going to. Oh, this is wrong. Never do this with hard surface. Like, if you want accurate hard surface, definitely carve out stuff from your base mesh, always keep that base mesh so you can always go back and grab new pieces out of it, and so that everything you do sort of matches to the original surface. So what I'm doing here is actually pretty bad. So yeah, don't do what the tutorial guy does. That's sending a great message. This feels so wrong. Like you never should do it. Like you should never have to touch. Like if you're modeling and you want like these cool hard surface linings and details, you should never have to, really touch the actual shape. Because normally you do a boolean, you'd have a base mesh, do a boolean, get this shape, and then from your original shape, rip that exact shape out again and scale it down a bit, and then you have sort of the platings. I'm just doing it like this right now because I'm too lazy to go back and get an older version of the model. So let's just... But nobody will notice. Just don't tell them. So we'll zero this so it's perfectly straight. And now we have to turn this to textured. Yeah. And now we have this battery flap. And I mean, at the end of the day, even if the linings aren't perfect, if you look at the real remote, it's not perfect either. It's actually looks pretty janky. If you look at it close up, like the linings aren't equally thick, and it's sort of... Mine is kind of broken anyway, so... So the shading is kind of messed up here. We'll have to go back and fix that at some point. We'll remesh that for sure. But one thing at a time always. And for now, let's just give this a basic solidifier. Yeah, I hate the new smoothing. I don't like why. I miss the auto smooth thingy here. Like I don't know what's wrong with my version. I thought there was like a version where the auto smooth is now a modifier, but here it's not there. Like I only have the shade smooth by angle, and basically what it does, it just creates custom split normals or something. It's very strange, and I don't have it here either. Yeah. Great. So let's clear the shop here. Yeah, this actually fixes the shading pretty much. Yeah, we have to fix this angle for sure. Fix the... Ugh, that looks nice. Yeah. As always, don't stick to the same place for too long. Just, jump around the model and build it up slowly. Alright, so we've made some good progress. I'm actually gonna render this in the viewport for the first time. Looks like a Wii remote. Great. Probably like start adding a first material. So Let's just do a simple plastic. It's pretty glossy, I think. Yeah, it's super glossy actually. Just kind of mirror-like. So maybe 0.05 or something. Let's use a different HDRI with more contrast. I really want to like see the shape. I hate all these HDRIs that are like just white. You get no shape or anything. Like yeah, like this. It's a bit gray, but just get a sunlight to brighten it up a bit. Thanks for the like, by the way. Yeah. And do the buttons have the same material? Yeah, I think it's all kind of glossy. So if you have multiple objects and you want, you know, them to have the same material, just select them, and then lastly select the object that has the material, the target material, and then Control L, and then link materials, and then all of them have the same shader. Yeah, I think this is coming along nicely. You can actually scale this a bit because, yeah, it looks more like that. And mine kind of looks like that. So the sort of the flap, or whatever you call it, the cover, is like kind of sticking out. But we'll do that like later. Mine's kind of broken. I think I want to do like a substance setup where we do two texture sets, one clean and one like dirty, and sort of for the plastic sort of goes yellow. I'm definitely gonna do that in Substance Painter. And I think the graphics like the button stuff, I'm gonna do that in Photoshop or Illustrator, whatever. Yeah. I'm also planning on modeling this, by the way. So I'm gonna model the inside here, put in some batteries, like really get in there and do like a full proper model of it, which is gonna take so long. There's gonna be so much work. The inside of a Wii remote is pretty detailed. Like you even see a bit of a PCB. You have all the screws and very complex shapes, but it will be fun. We also will have to do the plug, but I think I'm gonna call it today. I said it would be a more shorter stream. I think we did an hour now. No, okay. 45 minutes, but that's fine. We're doing like small steps. But yeah, I think it's starting to look like a Wii remote. The button is still missing. We might want to do a button next actually, because it's definitely affects our whole model, because we'll have to do another boolean here. And it's like important to have all the base shapes of your model early on, because otherwise you can't really read the whole object. Like you need to be able to read the silhouette and like is it all good? Like we are working from very accurate references, but still you can't just rely on your 2D references when you're working in 3D space. There's with the sensor here. The plug itself is pretty simple. We might want to do that after the button. But yeah, sounds good. And I'll see you in the next stream, where we will do this button and the plug at the back. Thanks for watching. Bye.